Hi, welcome to our Ask Me Anything class for today. We first up have our in-depth mindset question, and it is taming the green-eyed monster. In this class for today, I'm going to cover with you some ideas around jealousy and what might be happening in your mind when you go through experiences of jealousy. What happens when you get into and you find yourself in that trap of the jealousy or the comparison trap? Maybe some kind of deeper issues or the deeper rooted dynamics that we want to have a look at regarding this particular issue. And I'll give you a couple of questions that can be really helpful to hone in and work through this sticky dynamic sometimes. And so let's first of all understand jealousy. So it's often referred to as this green-eyed monster. I don't know, I must have intuitively thought I will wear green today. But it's this complex, deeply rooted emotion or experience that we have, which comes with a fear of insecurity or a fear of inadequacy or a desire for validation. And so it can emerge in these threats from the outside world that threaten your own, say, status, your own relationships, or what you perceive you have ownership around. And so let me give you an example. So let's say we have two friends and they've grown up together and they've spent a lot of time you growing up in a similar school, like in the same school, a similar neighborhood, similar kind of life experience. But when they get older, one tends to blossom more or goes further in life, in adulthood, further ahead than the other. And so they pursue, one friend goes and pursues what they love and they're inspired by, and they get really, they find like success in their career world. They climb, say, the corporate ladder, and they just grow in their ability, or they go and start an entrepreneurial journey. And then the other friend starts to compare themselves, and then because of the comparison, then an experience of jealousy can rise up and bubble to the surface and seep into them, because what they see them having, they minimize themselves and they feel like they don't have something that they have, and then there's a sense of jealousy. And so we ultimately want to know what it is, and how do we know that we have jealousy coming up inside. And what are the signs and symptoms that you experience jealousy? Some people experience it when someone else is doing better in their career. Some people experience jealousy if they see someone having more likes and responses on Facebook. Sometimes people experience jealousy when they have someone in a new relationship. When they have a baby, and there can be elements of a relationship they have with their child, and there can be elements of jealousy that pop up inside. And so what we want to do is we want to dig underneath, because it's not just the problem, it's the problem underneath the problem. Like jealousy is the feeling or the sensation that you experience because of some kind of thought or process that you're having. But what's the underneath layer that's actually creating the jealousy in the first place? So is it insecurity, which is that you experience maybe uncertainty or a non-worthiness in your own ability, and therefore it bubbles up insecurity. You feel like they're pretty smarter, more popular than you are, and that you feel that they have something, and then people are rejecting you, or you're being rejected as a result. Another can be envy, which is another component that comes up with jealousy, and that's around that envious, which has envy can have two sides to it, which I'll explain in a little bit. But we can be envious, which is a jealousy that comes up, or this perception that comes up that they have something more than you do. We also have anxiety when jealousy comes up, because it's like, why aren't I performing? Why aren't I? What's wrong with me? And so there's a sense of like anxiety that bubbles up inside. And then there can be this unhealthy sometimes dynamic with competition because of the anxiety, and then comparing yourself. Then you end up going into someone else's lane, doing someone else's thing, which isn't really you, and then becoming this competitive version of yourself. And then it's about the competition. It's not about you living and being a true sense of who you are. So this is what can happen with jealousy. We can also have resentment comes up, and that's self-resentment. Well, it's also other resentment. There's definitely that dynamic, but that eventually comes self-resentment, because when we focus so much heavily on what other people are doing, what their life is, it's like your dedication to my life or your dedication to someone else's life, you got to give some credit for that, because if you put that much effort and dedication into your own life, I wonder what would happen. And so we want to have that, like, there becomes that resentment then, because when you put so much dedication into someone else's life and attention into someone else's life, which is creating real estate in your mind that you're not able to put attention into your children, into your family life, into your clients, into building your business, because your real estate is on someone else doing something, then you don't have the space and time to be able to grow what you would love to grow, and not the freedom to be yourself. So there is definitely going to be an element of resentment coming up with jealousy. And what happens as a byproduct of being jealous, the moment we get jealous is the moment we lower our self-esteem, because you're struggling because you're wanting to live in their world, wanting to have their results and their accomplishments, but that's them, that's not you. And so we can also then put those rosy star glasses on with that idea, well, but my life would be so much better if I had that. Like, my life is currently shit in its form that it is, and if I had that, then life would be better. And so what we want to first of all do is, like, recognize the feelings that bubble up inside, that or the thoughts that bubble up inside, that that you're going through a period of jealousy. And that can be because internally you feel it coming up. You're just like, you can feel your blood boiling, or you can feel yourself getting attached to that particular individual. Maybe you're looking at their social media more, maybe you're thinking about them more, maybe you talk about them more with your family and friends, and so you notice that. So you want to find out what it is specifically that's making, what the dynamic and what changes in your body and your thoughts to know that you're experiencing jealousy. Okay, so the next part I wanted to just talk about is that comparison. For years I've said that, like, comparison's a bitch. It really is, because the moment we start comparing ourselves is the moment we start minimizing ourselves. So comparison is a minimization of self. And so when we do that, how do you ever get to know yourself, have a true sense of your own identity? How do you go and know your values, what you're here to contribute in the world? How do you go off and share yourself in the world if you're already comparing yourself? Because the moment you compare, you think, I need to do something else, I need to do something more of them, but not internally checking in to say, hang on, what's actually aligned with me? What do I actually want for my life, and what would be really fulfilling for my life? For example, if we compare and we think that we need to post on social media every single day, and then we have to do that, we have to do lots of engagement, and you have to do all that. And so it's like, then you compare yourself to what you think you've been told that you have to go and do, and then you think, okay, yeah, I've got to do that. But internally, you love a live face-to-face. Let's have a coffee together. Let's have an interaction. Let me get to know you deeply and serve people at that level. Maybe that's more who you are. But the moment we start comparing, is the moment we think we should live in that world. But that's not really us. So we go and live in that world. We put that imposter masks on. We become someone we think that we should be. And then a month, a year, a few years later down the track, we're like, this is not sustainable. I can't keep on doing this. But if you stay in your lane, you stay in your expression of who you are, without that comparison, without that feedback of jealousy, you just keep on doing you, and you do you really well, then you're going to have the successes and the accomplishments and the goals that you want to, if you're removing your growth ceilings that you have, and you're working on what's resisting and stopping that. Because you may as well create a life that you love, rather than a life that you think other people have, because you've got, like, say, one snippet from a social media post that you saw them doing something once, and that's like 1 second of their life, and you think their life is like that, and you want that, but it's an unrealistic desire of what you want anyway. So hopefully you're finding this interesting. I'd love to hear if you're here at the live, hashtag live. If you are watching the replay, watch the hashtag replay. So curious, like, with the, if you've noticed and you've gone through this, like, unfolding pattern, or this pattern of jealousy before, I just want you to think about, like, what's the pattern? Does it come up? Does it come up with friends? Like, is it with one family member? So for example, someone that comes into mind is they have this jealousy kind of dynamic with another sibling of theirs. And so whenever they had something going on, they wanted to do something more. And so underneath that, there was this competitiveness inside of the family dynamic. And so at the end of the day, everyone is so different. We want to appreciate the differences, because if you became like someone else, especially in the family dynamic, well, that position's already taken. So you're trying to fill a position, maybe because that person gets more recognition from one of the parents, and you really want recognition from the parent. And so now we're starting to uncover the pattern behind what's driving that jealousy in the first place. That is the true discovery that you want to find, is because you really want recognition from your parents. And instead of going to the jealousy and letting that kind of cover you and kind of haze you and distract you from the real issue, which is you're trying to seek attention and validation from a parent. And then you have to ask, well, why do you want that in the first place? Oh my gosh, human behavior is amazing, isn't it? We can just go down this rabbit hole. And so we want to uncover the pattern behind what's actually going on inside of your psychology when it comes to our pattern of jealousy or comparison. So you want to pick like who it is, like who's that person that you kind of find yourself in that same repeated, or the relationship that you find yourself in that same competed dynamic. Because maybe it's an intimate relationship. Just thinking about something else, another client that came to me years ago, and it was the jealousy of the new partner, and they'd noticed this pattern come up a number of times before. Is whenever there was a new partner came on the scene with their old ex partner, because they had a family together, then it was this jealousy, or like, what did I not have? And what was not okay about me? And why were they getting chosen? And why didn't I get chosen? And so then that became a pattern of jealousy within the intimate relationship dynamic. So we want to find that pattern and then dig deeper. So I just want to look at, because jealousy, let's also put this into perspective. Jealousy, envy, comparison, it doesn't have it's not completely dark, lens colored, negative, and impactful. There are some benefits that can come from it. So for example, there's definitely a vicious side of envy and comparison. There's definitely that, but there's also an emulating side of it as well. Because when we see something and someone doing something incredible, we can also go and wake up in our brain and our mind, that's actually possible. Like running the 4-minute mile, no, they never knew it was possible. Now I see it's possible. So we want to not say that, complete jealousy, you want to get rid of every jealousy that you ever have, or every bit of comparison or envy that you feel, because sometimes it actually can help and serve us. So I just want to paint that picture for you, that sometimes we can use it to emulate and expand our mind out. But it's when it starts to become, and we tip that scale to the other side, where it starts to become too occupying our mind too much real estate in our mind, that's when we want to come back and we want to start exploring and doing some work, which is why we have our maximum growth group coaching classes each and every week for you to come in and apply the Demartini method. We're in the midst of some really inspiring work at the moment in terms of really going deep and clearing some of those sticky ball of mess challenges that we talked about in the last class. So we can kind of dissolve the dynamic that's going on underneath, that kind of deeper layer problem, like figuring out what that is and going deep with the work that we do. So in a nutshell, jealousy, we want to know what is coming up for us when we experience that sense of jealousy, like define those feelings. We want to know them. Feelings are okay. They're awesome feedback for us. We also want to appreciate that there is a pattern of behavior that we're looking for. And what's that pattern that keeps on getting repeated, and who does it get repeated with, or what does it get repeated around? We want to figure that out, and we want to go deep. If we can find out deep underneath that problem, like what specifically is driving jealousy. Is your symptom. Jealousy is the first issue that people come with, but it's what's underneath that's driving the experience of jealousy or comparison that we're really looking for, because that's where the work actually begins. So hopefully you found this insight. What is this? What is this? Our in-depth mindset question helpful and insightful. Love to hear your comments, your thoughts. Just write it in if you're watching the replay. Hey, Brett. If you're watching the replay, love to hear your comments and your thoughts. If you are watching this in our Maximum Growth Academy as a replay, also love to hear your comments below. So we've decided actually, so as we've wrapped up this, we've actually decided to keep our AMA going over the December-January period, because we have seen that you have loved this so much. And if there's a particular topic that you would love us to explore in these in-depth mindset questions, feel free to just reach out to us, either Justin, myself, or just put it in one of these posts here. Love to share some more insights with you.